So I have one question for you. How have you been surviving the holiday season?
Barely.
Let's talk about it.
Welcome back, guys, to WaiGuo Friends English. Today we're going to talk about surviving the American holiday season.
It has been happening fast here lately, but it is what it is. That is the time of year we are in.
I feel like every time it rolls around to Thanksgiving, I feel like time just like all of a sudden speeds up. It's like after Halloween, right into Thanksgiving, and then it's just like boom, 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 boom.
The American Thanksgiving is on the third Thursday of November, so then you have 3.5 to 4 weeks until that happens, and then it's Christmas and all the other holidays that go in there. Yeah. And usually the typical American family will typically stick with Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, but if they have multiple sides of the family, they're going to spend a special Thanksgiving time with each of those family members, and then maybe their friends. Maybe they have a Friendsgiving, if you will. It's a lot to attend and to keep up with.
Yeah, especially for families. I don't know how you guys handle holidays in your own country, whether or not it's something like Thanksgiving, but in America, it's a very interesting balance to try to strike, especially with a married couple with kids, because each side of the family wants to have their family over for the holidays. And we actually have heard very good advice from people a lot older and wiser than us that said probably the best thing you can do is to alternate the holidays. So you may do Thanksgiving with their family, but Christmas with your family, and then you reverse it. The next year, you do Thanksgiving with your family, and then Christmas with her family. And that's kind of one solution to it, but it can be difficult. Other people just say 2 Christmases.
That's kind of what I think we've started doing, is doing a Christmas with your family and a Christmas with my family, and then doing a Christmas with like friends, or like doing some kind of trip somewhere and then something at church. It just kind of gets out of hand pretty quick. Because our family is relatively close, we're able to do it. Not everybody lives this way, just so you know. Not everybody is this crazy. But because our family is relatively close, within a morning or an afternoon's driving distance, like we can see everybody in the same day if we wanted to, but that would be a lot. And then when you're coordinating with multiple kids and grandkids and trying to get everybody under one roof, it's really tricky. So usually what happens is it's different days. You have Thanksgiving with one family on this day, a real Thanksgiving with this day. Maybe you have something at your church or a local club or community center to do. Maybe there's a parade in the community that you're going to do. Maybe you've got this, and this. And somehow you have to get Christmas shopping in here for your friends and your family that you're going to give a gift to. It's a very stressful time. And if you're a college student, your semester's wrapping up, you've got finals in there, you've got all kinds of things going on. So it's a very stressful time, which is why we're asking how we have been surviving it.
A big part of it is obviously looking ahead. I never looked ahead as much as I do now until I had kids. Once you have kids, I gotta be thinking what's going to happen 3-4 weeks down the road, because a large part, which I have enjoyed doing actually this year in particular, is just thinking about things that you can do now to prepare, whether that's decorations, whether that's Christmas gifts, whether that's just planning and driving and seeing people before the holiday season, so you don't feel so bad if you can't meet with your friends during the holiday season, because they're going to be meeting with their families and they got their kids.
It's trickier to meet them in season. Yes, that's true. There's that, and then there's the planning kind of the same thing for each meal. For example, families in the American South, they'd like to do potluck things. Maybe whoever's hosting people in their house, they will either buy or they will cook themselves most of the meal, like the main dishes, like the stuffing and the turkey and the things of that nature. But then everybody will come and they'll bring something that they're famous for in the family, for example, or among their friends. They're famous for making a special dessert or a special green bean casserole or something of this nature. You can count on that. But if you are the person that's known for your green bean casserole, then bring it to every event that you go to. Like, make a new one for each thing. So then you're just planning. Grocery shopping's easy. You're not cooking the entire meal for everybody. And usually if you're hosting, you'll only host one, and then you'll attend others. So when you do that, it helps you to space it out a little bit. We've been doing that ourselves. It helps quite a bit. We've done the holiday season before where we were hosting most of the time for like 4 or 5 Thanksgivings.
Yeah,
that was troublesome. That was difficult.
It was fun, but it was a lot. And so that's a big deal with surviving the holiday season. It's doing stuff where it can be a bit more fun than just cooking for forever.
Yeah, for sure. Another way that we have been surviving the holiday season is planning kid activities beforehand. Some forethought in that area, because right now in our families, we have a range of like newborns all the way up through 17 years old, and there's a bunch of them. So it's a lot of kids to handle and to deal with. And though the older kids, sure, they can hang out among themselves and entertain themselves, keeping the little ones out of trouble is really difficult.
Yeah.
Keeping them out of the food is difficult.
Yeah, so it's just figuring out ways that they can still be involved, still have something fun to do, which honestly just comes down to actually planning an activity instead of just being like, yeah, no, the kids can just, they'll talk, they'll mingle, they'll run around, it'll be fine. And it's not fine because they run around, they start like, oh, there's pie, let me stick my finger in the pie or whatever. And it can be really frustrating.
Breakdowns and explosive diapers and everything. But it's been going well. It's just a lot all at once. But we wanted to tell you this because if you run into an American, or if you live here and you're wondering like why all your friends are gone, they're not responding to phone calls and stuff, they might be really stressed out, or they might be trying to take intentional family time that they don't get normally, or they're just going nuts with everything that's happening right now.
Yeah. When we lived in another country, what was more fascinating to me was not necessarily all of the things, all of the small tasks that had to be done. You had to buy mooncakes, you had to buy an apple, you had to do this, you had to do that.
Yeah.
That was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's what you do.
You can do it. Yeah.
For me, it was more fascinating the absence of...
the chaos?
Yeah, the absence of the chaos. As a foreigner living in another country, it was like, where'd all the people go? Like, I'm sitting around and I'm normally like, I'm hearing cars and I'm hearing this and this is happening, that's happening. Why isn't that stuff happening right now?
Yeah.
And then, you know, you look at your calendar or whatever and you're like, oh, it's a holiday.
Yeah, it's a holiday. Maybe it's not an American one, or even if it is one that we share, it's just odd because everybody goes home. They have their own chaos going on. They're doing probably something similar, but they leave for it. So as a foreigner, when we didn't have to go, we did not feel obligated to go to so many different events. Yeah, it was kind of strange to just be like, well, it's free time. We can just go travel or we could go do something else. I will say this is a growing trend in America to just go on vacation instead of dealing with all the hustle and bustle of the holiday season. Like, they just take that 2 weeks off and they go out of the country, or they go travel across the country, or they do something else.
I will say, though, it's also a very hard time. For some people, it's a lot harder than others just because of the holiday season. What it reminds them of is not a happy time, and even if it was a happy time, some of the family members that they had are gone. And so one of the ways that you, especially as their friend or as their foreign friend, can just be with them and just to say, hey, if you need to hang out, if you need to have a house that is full instead of empty, let me know. We've done that before where we have hosted, like she said, multiple Thanksgivings in China and in other countries where we're just saying, hey, we're here, let's be here with you guys, because it can be a very lonely time. Even if it's with your own family, that's great. But then the time comes and it goes, and then you look back on it and you're like, I do kind of regret not trying to do something special. Even if it's something unconventional, that's fine. But if you do nothing special with regards to the holiday season, even if it's not your holiday season, if you miss that chance, you'll never get that back. I know it's difficult, but this holiday season, try to reach out to the people around you. Don't put them in an arm bar. Don't try to, force them to do anything special or super big, but just try to reach out and try to figure out if there's opportunities for you guys to develop deeper relationships.
Another thing you can do, if you are wondering about how you can be a part of the American holiday season, like say if you live here, for example, if you live in America, you're trying to figure out, is it okay? If they're that stressed, can I ask to be a part of their Thanksgiving or their Christmas? You can. You definitely can. But I would wait for them to invite you, or if they ask if you have any plans, usually that's what they ask before they invite you. So something you can do is, if you were invited to an American holiday celebration, what you can do is you can offer to bring something and tell them or ask them like, hey, can I bring anything? I would love to bring something. Can I do that? That would be helpful. Also, if you come from a culture where somebody says a time and you show up normally like an hour or two later, Don't do that in American culture because we're fairly punctual. If somebody says dinner's at 6, they mean dinner's at 6. If you show up at 7 or 8, it's done. So make sure that you like are very, very punctual. Even arriving like 5 minutes early, I would not arrive 15, 20 minutes early because then they're not expecting you at that time. So make sure you're fairly punctual.
So we hope that this video kind of gives you a window into American culture as we are trying to survive this holiday season. If you ever wonder and you put your ear out and you wonder, why are things a little bit more silent from my American friends? Or why are things more silent from my friends abroad? It could be that we're dealing with all this holiday craziness.
We hope that you guys can use this at some point. That would be awesome. If you come and visit America during the holiday season, it would be really cool for you to be able to understand a little bit more about it, just because this is a big part of American culture. So we hope you get to experience it at some time. It's not doom and gloom. It's not awful. It's just crazy busy, and it's a lot of fun, really. It is a lot of fun, but there is a lot that goes into it. So if you ever come and visit America during the holiday season, I hope this makes sense.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and we will catch you on the next one.